Welcome to the Vance Report with Senator Pat Vance, a program intent to keep you, the residents of Cumberland and York counties, informed on events in your communities and important public issues being addressed by the State Senate in Harrisburg.
Hello and welcome to the Vance Report. I'm State Senator Pat Vance, representing Cumberland and Northern York counties. Today we are at the Agrarian Group in West Pennsboro Township. This small company has 6,000 square feet aquaponic company, and they are able to grow plants year-round. Joining me now to tell me all about this is Paul Nickerson. We're really anxious to see what you're doing here.
I'm excited to show you guys the tour and show you what we do here.
Okay, you lead forth and we'll ask lots of questions.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, where are we going? Oh, all the fish.
This is our main aquaponic system. We have a nursery system where we get the plants when they're small fry. We bring them in and we grow them out to about 80 grams. And when they're 80 grams, we bring them from the nursery system over to this main system here. This main system is comprised of 4 500-gallon fish tanks. Each fish tank holds about 200 to 250 juvenile to adult tilapia, and they'll stay in here.
Oh, they're tilapia?
They're tilapia, yeah.
Okay.
We use tilapia. They grow really fast. They handle water quality problems well, like any changes in nitrites, ammonia levels, anything like that, oxygen. They also don't mind being packed in there pretty tight. So when we fit 250 fish into this fish tank, they get pretty cozy. So they don't mind that and don't get sick too well. Yeah, if you look at, it's amazing how clear the water is.
It is very clear.
We have no mechanical, UV, or biological filters on the system other than the aquaponic system itself, other than the plants. So that clarity is achieved through our clarifying system, which was designed by Nelson and Pade, and then our plant growth that we actually have in the system. So,
well, where do you get your tilapia to start with?
The tilapia come from a company called Whitebrook Tilapia Farms.
Which is located?
It's down in the Midwest.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, so they ship them up
of
here.
The country,
yeah,
not
of the
Midwest,
country. Yeah, they're U.S. fish, home-brewed fish. So we get them in really small. They're about the size of the tip of my thumb, and then we grow them out till they're about 80 grams, which is about 4 or 5 inches, and then they go in here, and they grow out here for about 9 to 10 months.
And then what do you do with them at 9 to 10 months?
We eat them.
You eat them.
We sell them to some different restaurants, fish markets, and things like that, where they're used for human consumption. Food
Local
production.
fish markets?
Yep.
Or really?
So I know we're selling a few out towards Philly and some more local. The butcher shop located right next door will be able to process them for us, and they'll be able to sell some of them for us too. So we try to keep it as local as we can.
Well, that's very good. Now, do they breed while they're here?
We don't breed the fish.
Okay.
We actually keep populations of all males.
Really?
Yes, they send us a bunch of guys. In order to do that, if you start getting into breeding, they go through these ups and downs in their life when they're mating, when they're giving birth, and it's a whole nother science actually rearing fish for brood. So we actually use them from another company. We are getting into that side of it though. We're starting with building some other systems in order to actually do production for ourselves. So that's our goal.
How many fish are in there now?
There are 1,600 fish in the greenhouse.
But in this
tank, there's 240.
Are they in varying sizes?
These 3 tanks here are all the same size.
Okay.
That tank is a little bit smaller of fish. You can see these ones were moved over.
I'm going to have to look down here.
So there's a couple smaller ones.
Oh yeah, they are smaller. Yeah.
They're about 3 months behind the larger set. So these are actually 250 of a younger set.
Okay.
The rest of their friends, the rest of the 800 are inside the nursery still. So we just brought some to give them a little bit more room. They'll all eventually come into here, all 800, and then after those fins are harvested, these will get divided up into 250-ish fish into each one of those tanks, and then we can move another 800 into this tank here.
And what do you feed them?
We feed them just regular fish feed, Aquamax. We are doing a lot of research into fodder production. We actually grow our own fodder here, and with that we're able to grow a mix of barley, wheat, sunflower, and they're sprouts, and so we can feed that to the fish, and so then we're growing our own food.
Okay.
So
how'd you ever get into this business?
I was a student at Messiah College.
Okay.
I graduated 2 years ago. Started doing research there. I built them an aquaponic system, a smaller one, about 300 gallons. I built a number of systems over the years and consulted on different systems, and then ended up actually hooking up with this company just about a year ago. We put this system in last April, and I've been running it ever since. So.
How'd you get to be such a young expert?
Yeah, well, a lot of spare time.
I don't believe that.
I should have been working on my studies more, but this caught my fancy, and this has just always been a passion of mine. So.
How many employees do you have?
There's 4 of us, I think, right now on staff.
Okay.
So.
All right. And the facility is owned by the corporation?
The facility is owned by the Agrarian Group.
Okay.
What's great is having such a good relationship with Messiah College. We're able to get interns and students from there, so we do have a small workforce from Messiah College.
Okay.
My weekend help, and then whenever we do harvesting and things like that, we do use students and interns from Messiah College. I have 2 students this summer that are going to be working with me. We had, I think, 4 or 5 students last summer that were working with us. So it's really good to have that relationship with them. So we're able to take them in, train them in aquaponics, which is a rapidly growing field, and get them ready for that job market. So,
do you use any of the other schools in this area?
we are starting to work with Dickinson College. Dylan is from Dickinson, so he's kind of reaching out to them, trying to get them to work with us and start to build a relationship with the Dickinson farm. And then we're starting talks with Lehigh University.
Wow.
So kind of branching out there a little bit, but we're looking forward to working with them for research.
It's fascinating. Well, then we're going to see your
yeah,
plants,
so
and so you're going to show us what you're going to...
Yeah, so this system's really cool, just to highlight this.
Oh yeah, tell me more about this.
This system's engineered to pump clear water and not wastewater. So a lot of aquaponic systems, they have a tank full of fish, and they pump the wastewater out. In order to do that, you need a much stronger pump, a bigger pump, because you're not pumping clean water, you're pumping solid. You're pumping waste fish food that's not eaten, solid waste of the plants. So this system runs in that we pump clean water in, and then barometric pressure displaces the waste out of the bottom of the tanks and into these clarifiers. So
now, whose invention was that? Yours?
No, this is actually designed by a company called Nelson & Page. So they worked on engineering that. We made some improvements, adjustments to the system over the year. There's a lot of stuff that's ours that is proprietary to us that we do, but for now we're going to show you the basic of the system just because of the proprietary things.
All right.
So this system displaces all the water into here.
Yes.
The clear water is allowed to pass on, so this works like a little septic tank. This one's really clean. I just cleaned it yesterday. So what happens is the solid waste. No, they get really, really funky though. The solid waste stays on this side of the baffle, and liquid waste is allowed to go on. Eventually, the solid waste will settle to the bottom. So it works like a settling tank in a septic system. So the wastewater, which is clean water, is allowed to pass on. It's very ammonia rich. Ammonia comes from like rotting fish food, fish waste, all of the delicious stuff that comes out of the fish tanks. That goes on into those 2 tanks back there. Those tanks are called mineralization tanks. They convert ammonia to nitrites and then nitrites to nitrates by use of 2 different bacteria, nitrous ammonius and nitrobacter. So by the time that we get down to the end of this thing here, this will lead us to our plants. I know you're very excited about seeing those. So by the time that the water gets down here, it's entirely nitrate-rich water. There's almost no ammonia in it, trace amounts of nitrites, and a lot of nitrates, which are kind of the fundamental building blocks of plant life. So we use that pump and some barometric balances to grow our lettuce crop.
Oh, they look beautiful. Now, what are you going to do with all this lettuce? So
we sell some lettuce to Messiah College. We also have we sell it to a number of other small restaurants in the Philadelphia area and locally. So
it looks great. It really does.
It does look really good. Especially to note, we use no pesticides, no herbicides, and no fungicides. What we're able to do is, because there's no dirt in our greenhouse, which is really important to know, everything that you see grown here, even in the media beds, which we'll walk you through in a second, there's no dirt. All of the equipment has just water flowing through it, and all of the nutrients from the plant is taken up by the through the water. And so because there's no dirt, we don't have to worry about bugs that winter over in the dirt or pupate in the dirt. A lot of garden pests, fungi that winter over in dirt, and we don't have to worry about all those like soil-borne pathogens and pests.
But do you ever have any pests at all?
We do. We still get your basic greenhouse pests, thrips, aphids, whiteflies.
Okay.
But we use a very interesting method called IPM. It's called Integrated Pest Management. And so what we do is we have bad bugs out there, and so we bring in, and we actually have at the other end of the greenhouse a little farm where we cultivate good bugs. So we cultivate aphid-eating wasps. We cultivate some Aureus species, different sort of soldier flies and things like that, that will then kind of comb through our lettuce crop and eat any bad bugs that are in there. So it's an interesting, very intricate ecological system that we've developed in the greenhouse, and that's what we do for pest management. We are able to use things like natural oils and things like that, like neem oils and other fruit oils and other such organic pesticides. But we try to use even things that are considered organic and are just natural oil. We still work to use those as minimally as possible and only use it for like if a single plant is bad. But for the mass treatment of plants, we just use other bugs, good bugs.
I don't think I've ever seen any healthier looking lettuce.
So
it's
great.
Terrific.
We have 720 heads of lettuce in this bin over here. In the whole greenhouse, it holds 5,420 heads of lettuce.
And so how, when they reach maturity, how soon? These look almost...
So those are actually being harvested today. Okay. Those are actually being sent out to a restaurant today, as well as some of the lettuce down here in this bed here. What's cool is when the greenhouse is running, we are able to get about 1,200 head of lettuce per week.
Really?
The traditional numbers on a system like this is closer to 800, but we've been able to work with Messiah College to do some very interesting things with lighting manipulations, temperature manipulations, nutrient manipulations in order to actually get the time of to maturation of the lettuce plants down to almost 24 to 35 days. So we're able to really speed up that production through some different methods and really crank our turnaround time around.
For people who are really interested in eating food with no sprays, no pesticides.
This is perfect.
It is perfect. So are there local restaurants that they could patronize that would be having this kind of thing?
I'm not sure. Dylan will be able to talk to you more about what restaurants we're selling to. I just grow it.
Oh, well, you certainly know what you're doing, but I think that people would make an effort to go there.
Absolutely. And that's something that's really cool about this is people can promote it. I mean, we have restaurants that say we serve local food. We're a farm to table.
Yes.
This is something that can be promoted, and it is the direction that agriculture is heading. So
hopefully,
it is just another sticker that people can talk about.
Curiosity, in this tank back here that looks like it has little leaves. No, right there.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
This is actually growing all over our raft beds and everything. It's a water fern, and so what it does is it just clears up any excess waste in the water before it goes back to the plants.
Really?
So you'll see it's kind of scary looking, but underneath it's very clean. It's very clean water under there. It
is.
And so that kind of just takes out any last amounts of nutrients that have made it to the fish.
Absorbing it. Is that it?
Yeah, exactly. And then that cleans the water because this water is actually very clean and goes back up to the fish. The other nice thing is the fish love this. So we're able to kind of supplement this into our fish feed in order to kind of keep our feed costs down. So we grow this in here, we grow it around our raft and things like that. So we're able to that's another way that we're just trying to supplement our feed in order to get our more organic, sustainable feed sources.
It's an amazing thing you have going here. It really is. So I see lots of lettuce, but let's see what's down. I see tomatoes. And what else?
We see tomatoes. Down at the other end is Thai basil, and we have some kale. If you want to see some really fun plants, we can go to the media beds. That's where we actually have all of our very biodiverse plants, and we have all sorts of fun stuff over there. We actually grow, again, there's no dirt, so we actually grow.
Yeah, that is amazing.
We grow the plants in what's expanded shale. So it is a media, but what this helps us to do is they receive no nutrients from the actual expanded shale. The expanded shale just allows us to grow things that kind of need a structural root system. So the lettuce plants are they're very squatty and small, so they can kind of hold themselves up and not fall over in a 1-inch deep tray. Things like a banana tree need more structure, so it can actually grab down a little bit more. These beds are actually run off of all of our wastewater. So I said that the solid water collects on the bottom of our clarifiers. We use that and keep it here. This is important to note in that when we went to go receive our aquaculture license in Pennsylvania, you need a license to grow tilapia because they're considered invasive.
Well, I didn't know that, so I've just learned something.
So in order to get that license, you have to have inspectors come in, and fish and boat inspectors and like EPA inspectors, and they look around your greenhouse and they check for drains, they check for any way that a fish can escape and go into a local waterway. Because tilapia are very prolific, so they can enter a local waterway.
I didn't even know they were prolific.
Oh yeah, so you get a couple into like a stream or a pond, and they'll just eat all the vegetation. And so what we do is they come in and they inspect. So they came in and they asked us, where are your drains? We don't have any. They said, that's crazy. Every aquaculture system has to have a drain in order to get rid of their solid waste. I mean, what do you do with it? We said, we actually process it in-house, take water out of our system, clean it, put the clean water back, and all the solid waste that was in it, we actually pump into these beds, and we're able to grow stuff off of it. So no waste leaves our greenhouse.
That is amazing. Which
is very cool. So it allows us to grow all of this extra production here. So in the front of these beds, we have Thai basil. It's all in flower. It looks a little small. We harvested it way back before the cooler weather set in, and then this is kind of wintering over. Next spring, if you come in, this will just be taking over this bed. So we're looking forward to that. We have other Thai basil that will show you those. So we have our banana tree,
and we have parsley.
We have
parsley,
flat leaf and crinkle leaf parsley, which does absolutely incredibly. So try that. We have. Do you like kale?
Sure.
Oh, sure. There you go. So that's our kale.
Okay.
What's really cool about all of this is in aquaponics, and I've been doing it for years, and to me, every time I plant something new, I get nervous. It's not going to have the same color. Will it have the same taste? Will it have the same smell? Good. It all tastes the same, looks the same, smells the same. And it's amazing. Every time I plant something new, I get worried that something's going to be different, that maybe something in the ground causes something important to happen. But we've been able to do it all without any dirt.
Terrific. So, now, I don't recognize this. What is this?
This here?
Yeah.
Those are actually parsley flowers. So our parsley's getting old and it's starting to flower.
Okay.
We have watercress. That is
It's
rainbow
not-
chard.
Oh, it looks like rhubarb.
It does, yeah. They look very similar, especially with the large canes. So we grow watercress, which is
Okay.
absolutely delicious. If you want to try that, it's got a little bit of a bite.
I really like that.
The kale. So then we have rainbow chard. In the back we have some chives, our tomatoes, which we're getting ready to swap out for newer tomato plants. We got Swiss chard in the back. Other things that do really well, which is kind of surprising, is we have chili peppers, some bell peppers. Also down on this end of the bed we have, it's in here somewhere, there is rosemary. There it is.
There, yep.
And so what's really cool about this is we're able to grow plants that don't like water. So I don't know if you've ever grown rosemary, but it's a very arid plant. You overwater your rosemary and it dies.
It dies.
Well, this has actually been sitting for a year now, completely submerged in water, and it's doing fine. We've actually been able to work with aquaponics, and as long as you keep the dissolved oxygen levels in the water high enough, you can grow whatever you want. We've grown things like prickly pear cacti, with their root systems completely submerged in water. Rosemaries, chili peppers, bell peppers, all sorts of those very finicky plants that don't like lots of water.
I see
we're able to
peppers
grow them
on
all.
here, so you're...
So there's our bell peppers. Yep, that
Yeah.
one was flowering a couple weeks ago. We actually grew a pineapple plant. We recently harvested it.
And what
It
about
was
your
absolutely
banana tree
delicious.
plant? What are you doing with that?
We're gonna try and figure that one out. We're gonna see how tall it gets. So someone told me we think it's a dwarf variety, but we're gonna
You
find
better
out.
hope.
Yeah, exactly. So we have our fig tree. Behind the fig tree, there's actually a little mango tree.
Where's the mango? That's my very favorite of all things.
So there's our mango tree back there.
Okay.
So he's small. He's about 4 or 5 months old.
Okay.
Here's our fig tree. Starting to grow some figs.
Oh, so it
So-
is. Oh, this is fascinating.
Yeah, so we can really grow anything, which has been a very interesting thing to work on. Some things require a little bit more attention. You can technically grow potatoes and starch-based roots, but they don't do very well. You have to make sure that they don't get too wet because they'll rot. The plant will grow great, but you won't get potatoes too well. So
Okay.
we're still working on that, but we have some Mexican sage, some regular sage, and then we have pineapple sage. And this is the one that gets me. I just love this. Is even in aquaponics
Can you really eat
with
this
no
like
dirt.
this?
Yep. And smell it. It's delicious.
Oh, I like the way it smells.
So even with no dirt, we're able to get the same smells, colors, textures, flavors with just fish wastewater.
This is amazing.
And it doesn't taste like fish.
No, that is even more amazing. You're right.
So again, we have some more kale down here.
Right. And these are?
Watercress.
Okay.
That's that mustard greens.
Okay.
So see, we got our chili peppers here. So,
Oh, yeah, you do.
so it is amazing to see how everything grows well in it. And some things we've actually noticed they grow bigger, better, and taste better.
Well, they certainly
in
look
aquaponics.
lovely, that's for sure.
This is our nursery NFTs.
So you put a seed in here and then go from there?
We
or-
start over here on that side
Oh,
there.
okay.
So
All right.
the empty flats there, they're Rockwell flats. They have 98 holes in them, 98 little 1-inch cubes. And so we plant seeds in there. They grow up like that.
Yeah.
And then they get transplanted into here when they're small.
Okay.
And so once they're a little germinated plant with small root system, they can get put inside of a nursery. These trays hold 30 plants each. So it kind of gives us a very dense population of plants back here on this wall so that we can really get things growing and have a large bank to choose plants from. When they get to about this size here, preferably a little bit smaller, we move them from nurseries into grow outs. So there's grow out NFTs as well. Those are the NFTs that are along both ends of the greenhouse. And what those allow us to do is those have 15 holes per gutter.
Okay.
So we can space the plants out a little bit more and they can grow out till they're completely mature.
Okay.
We can harvest from those. They will also be moved into rafts as well. So the rafts that we saw in the big pools, those hold 18 plants per raft. And so we can move juvenile plants into those and they'll grow out to adulthood that way as well.
Okay.
So that's
And
the
how
plants
often do you send the food out to the restaurants? Is there a schedule?
Weekly.
Weekly.
So once a
Okay.
week everything goes out.
Okay.
And then we just do everything all over again. So we'll harvest from the rafts or the NFTs. And then when I have empty grow outs at that point, I'll move some of these over and then that leaves open nurseries and then we'll pull some of those plants from the
Gotcha.
seeding trays, put them in here and then reseed. And
It
so
all
it's-
seems very organized.
it has to be.
It is really an amazing place.
Absolutely, yeah, we like it. And it's amazing to see what we're able to do. I'll show you at the front of our greenhouse. We
Okay.
have some research systems back there and some smaller systems.
Lead
And
the
that's what we're
way.
using for international work.
Now, what do you mean international work?
We're working currently, a team of us is leaving for Uganda and Kenya, coming up here in April. We have some contacts in Puerto Rico, as well as Malawi. And so we're able to do, because, like I said, there's no dirt. And so what we're able to do is we're able to grow things regardless of ground conditions. So think about,
Okay, all right.
think about like sub-Saharan Africa or Central America, where the dirt has been so abused and so used for a single crop, like El Salvador. It's just been sugarcane for years and years and
Right,
years.
right.
And now you really can't grow anything else. And so what we're able to do is we're able to say, well, regardless of the ground, we can still grow things because we don't care what the ground is. We're growing on 8 inches of crushed limestone. So in Africa, they say, you know, our ground is just, it's too far gone. Desertification, like the ground's ruined and we can't grow anything. Well, we're able to actually use a closed environmental system like this and grow things regardless of the dirt conditions. So we can bring this type of technology to Africa, build systems that work for their shade houses, and grow large amounts of food and put that into the market in Africa and bring food to these nations. So Uganda is really searching for their independence and food independence. So we're going to try and help them accomplish that. We've used it, the model of this nursery system, to make some smaller systems that are grown, made entirely out of materials that you could find in every country. So we have some systems that are made with like feed stock tanks for animals, as well as 35-gallon, 55-gallon drums, just things that are very common, so that we will be able to use those systems and apply them to other countries and be able to bring aquaponics abroad and answer the problem of sustainable agriculture and farming in other countries.
Now, did you actually come up with this whole concept yourself?
Aquaponics has been around for a long time.
Well, I understand that, but this specific one.
This system again was engineered by another company up in Wisconsin. We brought it all here and built the thing here, and I've been running it. And then we've built a number of other systems that are like this, but we are still working on proprietary sides of it. So.
All right. Now, what can we look at? What's in the blue?
Yep, absolutely.
All right.
Those are our juvenile fish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, if you wanted to feed them.
Sure.
Here,
oh,
so
yeah,
if you grab a handful of feed, you can throw it in the top of there.
Absolutely. And it'll just go through?
Yep.
Okay, guys. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're hungry.
They are hungry. And how often do you do this?
A couple times a day. They get fed usually 4 to 5 times a day.
Okay.
Both these fish and the main system fish.
Well, they don't have a bad life.
No. Well, the nice part is when you look at international aquaculture, especially coming out of like Asian aquaculture, the tilapia there, in the tilapia world we call them blackwater tilapia.
Because why?
They're grown in black water. So you can figure that one out.
Yeah, I can. Yes, I can.
So we do clear water aquaculture. So as you saw how clean our water is, you can see all the way to the back. So the tilapia are a lot less stressed. The meat's a lot cleaner. They're a lot healthier fish and a lot healthier for us to eat. They don't have any of those heavy metals or toxins that are found in other waterways where tilapia are grown. So.
Sounds perfect. It really does.
And they're delicious.
I've eaten tilapia, but now I will appreciate them even more. So I want to know where I can go to buy the tilapia from here.
And Dylan will help you with that.
Okay.
Dylan will answer those questions for you.
All right. Joining me now is Dylan Strom, who's the business manager. Is that your title?
I'm a part owner. I'm also a part owner, and I'm head of marketing.
Okay. Well, good. That's just what I want to ask you about. The tilapia and the lettuce and everything that you grow here seems to be so pure. Mm-hmm. What local restaurants, if I wanted to buy tilapia, or even just buy it without going into a restaurant, where can I buy these things?
Well, we're going to be, the Country Butcher is actually getting their fish processing license so they can take our fish and sell it as well. So you'd probably be able to buy the tilapia off of them. The tilapia kind of work at a 8 to 10 month schedule. So every 8 to 10 months we'll be producing a new batch of 800 fish, but we're working to get some more fish tanks on the over there. So we're going to be able to rotate that. So we'll have it quarterly instead of I guess it would be, biannually.
What restaurants could I go and get?
So the restaurants for tilapia, since the system has been up for a year, we haven't really delved into that world. In the next couple of months here, we're going to be really looking into what restaurants would like to have our tilapia, and we'll definitely be looking locally.
Well, we'll be happy to put it up on our website if you let us know.
Absolutely. So, I'd be very happy about that.
I don't think I've ever seen more beautiful, healthy lettuce. Mm-hmm. Is that available anywhere?
So we offer some of our lettuce right here in Mount Link's farm, occasionally. But what we're doing right now is we're partnering with Messiah back and forth. So we sell the Messiah dining services, and then in Philadelphia, Honey Grow is one of our partners, and we sell a lot of this to Honey Grow. Locally, we're looking to get into that world as well. We're seeing if there's some other restaurants that would like to take some of this off of our hands.
Now, you graduated from Dickinson.
I did.
So how did you get involved in this to start with?
It's a long story. I'll give you the Spark Notes version. Essentially, I was working. You know, I went through a couple of majors and kind of settled on business because I felt like there's enough really smart people like Paul out there. They just need commercialization, and they really need, you know, somebody to bring their amazing ideas to market. And I was kind of thinking of different ways that we could really help the world. And I started reading some crazy statistics, like in 2050, there's going to be 9.1 billion people on Earth, and we need to feed all of them, and that means our agricultural output needs to go up by 70%. And right now we're losing phosphorus, we're having serious problems agriculturally, and 70% of our fresh water is used in agriculture. We could use aquaponics, which uses 90% less water than conventional
90%?
90% less.
That's very impressive statistic.
And then, you know, we can produce everything organically, pesticide free. You know, it takes away the you know, need for GMOs. And I mean, it was kind of a home run on a lot of levels.
I would say it is. I mean, it is an amazing facility.
Yeah.
And I assume you're probably going to expand it?
We are expanding we're in talks right now about setting up several other systems. We're working, Paul mentioned we're working in Uganda and Kenya.
I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, the raft beds, you know, we really like to tailor our systems for the end consumer, like who's going to be using our system. So we've, you know, thought about several different ideas. I mean, if we threw up solar panels on the roof, it would mitigate some of the outages that happen in Central America or in third world countries. Other things like clean water, and we really take into consideration a lot of the different aspects that could affect these countries or just regions on Earth.
Well, now, do you have to keep the temperature here at a certain degree? I just looked and saw the fans, which made me think. Do you have to keep it?
It's funny. Some of our, for example, the Thai basil you saw over there in the media beds, that really likes a hot temperature. The tomatoes are similar.
Right.
Tomatoes can go at 135 degrees.
Is that right?
Yeah, no problem. They love it. But lettuce likes it a little bit more, like 70.
Yes.
The kale likes it cold because it's normally grown in Canada and Siberia. So we've got an interesting mix of plants. But as summer rolls around, we're going to probably be transitioning to plants that like it a little warmer. Even it's 30 degrees outside, and it'll get up to 95, 100 degrees in here.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Oh,
when it's sunny out. But we supplement the light with our LED technology, which is Bluetooth enabled as well. We're really trying to make our system scalable to a lot of people. You know, plants only like red and blue light, so LEDs are hyper efficient, and then, you know, we can tailor our light spectrums to the specific plant you want. So if your kale grows in Siberia, a certain light spectrum gets to that kale of red and blue.
Right.
So we can actually tailor our lights to hit that specific light spectrum. It's really amazing stuff. I'm blown away every time I walk in here.
There are so many pluses to this operation. No dirt used to grow the plants. They're pure, no pesticides.
That's right.
I mean, I can think of so many pluses. It's a really exciting concept.
Yeah, and we're really looking to you know, I guess doing well and doing good is really at the core of our company.
And if you can do them both together,
Absolutely.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
Well, let's say I think you hit a home run.
Thanks so much.
That's all the time we have for this month's program. If you have any questions about what you've just viewed, please contact our district office and join us again next month for another edition of the Vance Report.